Good afternoon and welcome along. It is midday, it is Tuesday, and that can mean only one thing. It is my 20 and 21 sessions, and this week I'm going to be talking to you all about the deal record. So, for those of you that haven't been joining me over the past few weeks, I'm walking you through the basic steps of HubSpot, CRM that I really truly believe is one of the best on the market. And I'm just talking you through all the different sections and elements. So we've looked already at how to add a contact. We've kind of gone into the company record in brief, which we'll come back to in future sessions. And so today I'm going to really dive in and start looking at a deal record. So without further ado, let's shoot over and have a little look. So here we are in HubSpot. Now, as when you first arrive, as I've mentioned in before, you will typically arrive at this dashboard screen. Now, you can personalize where you go. I personally actually always go straight to contacts, but everybody's different. I will talk to you about dashboards in another episode. But today, as I said, it's about deals. Now, there's different ways that you can access deals. You can access them through contact records, you can access them through company records, and you can go straight through this menu here at the top, which says sales and deals, and get to the main deal section here. So by default, HubSpot comes with a predefined sales pipeline, which is set up. In the free version of HubSpot, you can only have one sales pipeline. But obviously, if you look to upgrade and take paid features, this gives you the ability and option to have multiple deal pipelines for, say, different sales reps, different elements of the business. Maybe you run different processes in your sales, and some require different pipelines. So that's all possible and paid. In the free, you just get the single pipeline. We can customize this pipeline though, so it's not all bad. It can be used by any of the users. So with even the free version instantly brings into your business some sort of complete control over your deals and how to control them in the business, which is really brilliant. Highly recommend. Beats an Excel sheet, hands down. So I think the first thing that I would want to show you is just how to create a deal. In its most basic form, we have this button up here that we can see, and we can go ahead and click create deal. We're going to give the deal a name. So this is a 20 in 21 deal. We're picking the pipeline. As I said, in the free version, you only get the singular sales pipeline. In the paid features, we can add different pipelines. So we're going to select here. We're going to pick which stage we're putting this deal in. At the moment, I haven't touched the default stage setting, so we're going to leave it with appointment scheduled. And at this stage, we're going to just put a speculative amount of, £10,000 for this deal. And we're looking to close this deal by the end of April. So you select the close date. I am the deal owner. And then the deal type here is actually new business. I've never met this fictitious company yet, so we're going to go here. And you also have the option to associate the deal. Now, this can be associated to companies or companies multiples or contacts. So again, you would search for the companies that are available in the database. Because this is the new instance of HubSpot I use for demonstration, I haven't got anything set up. But and the same. So if I start searching for Rob, I'm going to associate it to me, and then Rob will be associated to company finally. So we can do that. The boxes here add time and activity. So as we've already looked at, within contact records and company records, there is the main part of the CRM is the activity timeline. So that big bit in the center that details all of the activity that's going on. You have a choice here of adding any of this deals and timeline activity from the company to that deal and from the individual to that deal. I personally don't tend to do that because I might well be talking about different deals with the same company or the same people. So I like to keep my data separated. So I don't personally do it. There is an option. And if you wanted to do that, you just simply tick that box. It's as simple as that. Again, there are some great features that you can have in terms of products. Within the free version, you can set up a little product library. So if you are in a business where you're selling maybe items that are more consumable or set products that have a set price and you know that's what all you're going to deliver, then you can set those products up. You can also input into that, the product value. You can put how much it costs you as a business, what the markup is, so it can start to do some financial reporting for you as well. Again, it's not something that we use heavily at Finally, because a lot of our deals are bespoke. But certainly we have some products. So we have a Discovery Day product. For those of you who want to find out more about that, just head over to our website. And that's got a set amount, and we know how we're delivering that. So I do have that set up as a product in my system, and I can select it. And that would then automatically update the price to the relevant amount of that product. So for now, in this demonstration, we filled out everything that we want, and we're going to just go ahead and hit create, and that is going to create us a new deal. Just wait for that to load. There we go. So as I've said, you're going to recognize the same look and feel of the deal record, because it follows the same layout as company and contacts. Obviously, for great reasons, it's been tried and tested, and has proven to be successful. So down the left-hand side, we've got the kind of key deal information. And as you can see here, you can kind of, as with anything else, add all of the different elements to this deal. So you want to leave activities and notes, you can go ahead and do that. You've got the deal amount, the stage that it's at, who owns it, and the last contacted date will start to update as you work with these deals in the future. Again, as with the companies and contacts, you can hit view all properties, and we can see every single possible property that is available for the deal. And we could go ahead and add custom properties, which I've shown in the past and will be doing again in the future. Customizing these to your own business needs is another brilliant feature. So if you have a very particular sales process and you want to ensure that it's maybe complete at a stage, or perhaps you want to do something like send a welcome gift, but you could have a flag in there to, as welcome gift been sent, yes or no, and you can update that. Just anything that's going to kind of be recognizable to your sales team and anyone else in the business that's using the CRM, to make sure that data, that information is shared fully amongst your whole team, and there's no cross communication. So again, the really good tricks here, if you want to just see what information you do have, hit hide blank properties. It's going to eliminate anything that has no data stored in it, and you see suddenly those numbers were going down. So if I again untick it, there's 15 properties, but we know there's only 4 actually that have been filled out in this current stage, so I can narrow it down and straight away see that. So if we go and untick, see all of the other bits and bobs that are associated to deal. But I'm going to jump back to the deal record itself. So that's all the kind of snapshot deal information. Again, fully customizable. So if you want certain information at your initial viewpoint and glance, then here is your opportunity to customize it, so you can move things up and down where you want them. Jumping over to the activity feed, as I've said, just the same as the other records. You've got activity, which you can filter using the filter section. You can filter that by user here. And it's going to start to build up the history of what's happening with that deal record. What stage is it in? Has it been moved? Who's moved it? If you want to leave any particular notes, so it's great to leave deal information on the deal. So, if you're working multiple deals, as I said, instead of associating that to a company, you associate the specific information to the specific deal, so that somebody else can come in and take a look if they needed to have a conversation with a customer, or you were passing that deal over. Maybe in your sales process, there's a time where you hand over to another individual in your team. That would be a great place, because all of the information will be stored here. And then over on the right-hand side, it's the associations and integrations that we've mentioned before. So here it's associated to the company Finally. There are no active customer service tickets associated to this deal. Here is the person or persons that it is associated to, and then any attachments. So you might want to add potentially, a data sheet or a physical quote if you're not using HubSpot for quoting. Any line items that make up a deal if there was made up of multiple products. So the overall deal is X and it's made up of, Z, Y, A, B, C. Again, quotes. So you can actually use HubSpot to send quotes. Really handy, ties in Just depends whether you're using that, with another financial system. So we tend to use Xero, so we do our quoting from Xero. But in some instances, it's useful because you can create an automatic e-signatory quote and get people to sign those off. So we have reached the halfway stage. I know you can't probably believe it. Time is flying and there's so much information to be taken in. Please, if you do have any comments, I'd love for you to ask them so that I can make it the most useful thing for you. But I will carry on. So where was I? Right, so that is at a glance all of the great things about the deal record. Really, really easy to use. So what I'd like to show you now is how that sits in a pipeline. So if we go back to sales and to deals, what you're going to see here is the view. So there's that new deal that we just created, sat under the appointment scheduled section, because that's where we've placed it. Now, if we had a call with that prospect and we decide that actually we're now calling them sales qualified, we could simply click here and we can drag them over and pop them into qualified to buy. That is going to automatically update that deal for us. So if I jump back into that deal record, you're now going to see the activity feed has been updated. So it says that Rob Dando moved the deal from appointment schedule to qualified to buy. It's automatically updated the deal stage there for us. And yeah, that's it. So it's really cool. So you've got drag and drop. Now that is my preference in how to use pipelines. If you are much more like list is your type, you can hit this button up here in the top left. And it will simply give you a list of all your deals. Now, all of these views are fully customizable, which I'll go into in another session, but you can customize what columns you can do. You can have filters. So as I showed you with the contact record, you could have a filter of views. If you're working with a big list, it might be that you want to filter by the sales rep, or it might be that you want to filter by the closing date. So you can look at potentially deals that have a certain product in it. So if you're using the product system and you might say, okay, I want to see all the deals that have got a discovery day associated to them, you could create that view and you could pin it up the top, like all deals. My deals obviously is just ones that are owned by me. In this example, they're all owned by me. And as I said, we could create multiple views. So I've got a question coming in from Joe. Thanks, Joe. Does HubSpot integrate with Xero? There is an integration with Xero, but it isn't as in-depth as potentially it could and should be. So I personally don't rely on that to push the information across. In our business, in the way we operate, I take sales through to the point of closing a deal, and I hand off to my account management team. And they then set up the customers in our internal project management systems. They set them up in Xero, and it goes on from there. And the finance team will then send out invoicing. So that's how we use it here at Finally. But I know that there are people that do use the Xero integration. There's definitely ways of syncing the information in terms of contact to keep that up to date, which is quite handy. So if you're using HubSpot as the kind of Bible, as your customer information database, then it's really useful because you can make sure that if you update a telephone number here, it will automatically push through to Xero and update that record, so you don't have to do that twice. Hopefully that answered your question. What else do I want to show you? I wanted to show you how to customize some of the properties and the currency, because you may or not spotted that this by default, when you start a new HubSpot instance, is in dollars because it's an American company. So we come up to the settings up here. We can go to preferences. Now this is probably a little bit more global, the preferences, but certainly when you first set up your hub, it's great to come in and understand all of the different things that you could do and what bit you're going to customize. So because I was in the deal pipeline, when I click settings, it's automatically brought me to the deals section of the preferences, where we can see here, this is the pipeline that we were using in the previous stage. So here's where you can customize the stages of your own pipeline. You can add some new ones. You can also associate a probability to winning those deals. Now, if you're a business that likes to create sales forecasts. So I do a lot of sales forecasting internally. You can kind of, give yourself some gut feels. You can also, over time, if you start to really develop your sales pipeline and understand your conversion rates, you can put some real numbers in here so that you understand that every time a deal reaches, qualified to buy, I have a 40% chance in this example of winning that deal, which is great for reporting because you can then start to forecast ahead and say, okay, I've got X number of deals due to close by this date, and give them a weighted percentage of the likelihood of those deals closing, which will give you a monetary value on what you're going to want to put forward in your pipeline to cash flow forecasting and just general budgeting for your sales. So again, really simple. If you want to change anything, you just simply click in that box up here. You can set an internal ID, which is something that is a bit more heavy for API usage. So if you're ever integrating to HubSpot, HubSpot again provides an amazing open API system. We have performed multiple integrations for clients. This is what you'd be using in that API. So by default, it will create a single kind of coded version of what you're saying without spaces. But if you are going to actually completely set something for yourself and you're building a new system, you have the ability to control the internal ID, which would be different to the actual visible name that you're using in the pipeline itself. You can also add automation. So within Sales Hub Starter and Pro and Enterprise, you can have automation. Now, again, what this means is you can trigger actions based on deal properties changing stage. So say when I moved that property from appointment scheduled to qualified to buy, you could trigger perhaps an email or a notification to internal staff members. Basically, your possibilities are just limited to your mind. It's as Sales Hub Starter, which starts from about £40 a month, so not a huge investment, gives you some great features and allows you to do some automation around that sales pipeline. But the free version obviously doesn't, but still provides you with a really, really in-depth sales pipeline to kind of get you going. So the reason we came into here was our preferences. So if we go up to the general preferences, and we go, oh, I thought it was there, but it is, maybe it's account defaults. So account defaults, you can set your time zone. Another great thing to do, particularly if you're going to do automations in the future, make sure you're on the right time zone. Set up all of your address here. And there was the tab that we're looking for, which is currency. So it is under settings, then account defaults, then the currency tab. And you can go ahead here and edit the default currency from dollars to, I'm not sure what it's, British pounds sterling. There we go, GBP. Click save. You can actually set company exchange rates, but I'll dive into that another time. So if I now go back to my deals, you're going to see that this is now a £10,000 deal, which is what we were after. So that's certainly something you want to dive into and get sorted. Again, in the paid features of HubSpot, you can actually have multiple currencies. And you can set up exchange rates automatically. So if you're working, and you sell in dollars, you sell in pounds, and maybe sell in euros, you can have those. You could possibly put those in different pipelines, depending on what's going to be best fit for your company. But again, there is lots and lots of things that you can do. The deal system itself is, for me, a fundamental part of a CRM. We're obviously a marketing agency, but we lean heavily towards helping sales team, because marketing and sales, for me, are a combination now. Should be no separation internally or externally. They have to be streamlined and smooth. So we are coming towards the end of my session today. I do hope that you found it useful. If you've got any questions on deals, contacts, companies, anything that I've covered in the past few weeks that you haven't had answered, please, add them to comments on this list. Send me a message throughout the week. Find our website and send me an email. However you like to do it, I'm freely available to be contacted. I'd love to help you get to grips with HubSpot. And hopefully I will see you all next week. Take care.